One of the things I get a lot of on the web is people seem to be getting the Tyco 922, the 936, or the 870 conveyor belt system. And of course, because it's like a million years old, the conveyor belt dries up. There is a fix. And this is Lionel's 397 conveyor belt, which we will install on here with a couple of modifications. And I might even motorize this. I think I will. And that's next on Psycho for Tyco.
From Tyco, of course.
Alrighty then. So I believe this one's from the 870 grain elevator kit, but it doesn't matter. It's all pretty universal. We're going to use the Lionel 397 conveyor in order to make this work again. And I'm going to motorize this one for my modular layout. And hopefully when I actually get the modular layouts built and done and ready and everything else, I'll be showing these at one of the CCRA's events. So let's talk about taking this apart for one. And what you will need is you'll need a good firm screwdriver in order to do this. And I don't have a good firm screwdriver, but I have screwdrivers somewhere. So disassembly is pretty easy. You just kind of want to get a screwdriver in between the conveyor and the belt itself, and it should pop right off without causing any damage or breaks here. I mean, plastic's like a million years old. And then to take this apart, just going to pull this forward, lift this up, and this comes out. Now, in a perfect world, this would fit nice and snugly. I could just put the conveyor belt back on and then just throw it in. That's not going to work. It's a little too wide and it's a little too short. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to take off a little bit from the side so it'll fit in a lot more properly. And then we got to kind of stretch it out so it'll fit in snug. And through the power of time, we're just going to go ahead and do that. I got to find a good solid set of shears so I can cut this. Alrighty, and we're back. Now I've trimmed off the belt. Hopefully it's the right width. And I've just placed it in very hot water, and the hot water is going to help it stretch. So we're going to put the back end in first, and we're going to run the front end, and it could use a little more trimming. And then when you assemble it, you're going to put this in the back, and you're just going to use some brute force to put it on. But you're not going to put it on just yet. Okay, we're going to go ahead and reassemble it. So we'll leave that off. We'll put this in. We'll put the crank pin in, and then it's just a requirement of setting it out and then snapping it back in. However, I'm motorizing this, so if you've gone this far, you're good. If you want to use the crank, great, but we're going to go ahead and we're going to modify this with some metal rod. We're going to run the metal rod through here, and we're going to motorize it with a high torque motor. And the high torque motor is probably going to be placed somewhere out here and hidden by a container. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And trim this up just a little bit more. As soon as I can get it off. There we go. Okay. So let's go ahead and let's motorize. So the rod I got is from K&S. I got it for about, $5. This is number 5102 or 1/8 by 0.014 aluminum tubing. And then I got this little hobby puller, which is going to pull this knurl, and it just barely fits. Now, this hobby puller I got off of Amazon, and when I got it I was going to be swapping out wheels. That didn't work out too well, and the reason being wheels and gears, this opening was too big. I made do with it in many ways, so I'm not like completely disappointed. But this comes with many different sizes of punches. And I gotta screw this thing into almost its massive depth. Put this back on so I don't lose it. And then we're just going to use it just like so to pop it out. I still got a ways to go. I use the big end first, so obviously I could push it flush, and then I'm going to use the next size down here, and I'm going to push that about, I would say 50, 60, maybe even 90% in. And this is a pretty good tool to have in your toolbox. I don't quite recommend this one. This one comes in handy for what I have with a lot of modifications, but really get yourself a good little gear puller. It's essential for your model railroading toolbox. Okay, that's maxing out. And it's still not coming out. So the something I decided to use was a drill bit. But I assume you could probably use like a nail or a pin or something like that. See, the only thing I don't like about this is this opening is way too wide. However, it worked. We've got our little knurled edge out here. And now we've got to get our this in here. And the best way of getting this tubing inside is just like that. Nice fresh push. Now this is the problem here. This is going to spin. As you can see, this was kind of knurled, which held us in place. But I'm going to do some measurements here by eye, like I always do. So, and then I'll just put some super glue on this as soon as I mark it. I need to find something to mark it with. Let's mark the end with some paint here. Now, we can do one of two things. We can either use super glue, but I think I'm going to use red Loctite. If I can get the red Loctite out. I haven't used red Loctite in like forever. Again. Well, we know this much. This is an exact fit for this gear. Looks like that'll fit. Alright, now for the drying period of several hours.
Two weeks later.
And through the miracle of time, we have motorized this Tyco conveyor, which now has the Lionel conveyor belt, which has been trimmed down and fitted. What I did here is I got one of these little high torque motors off of eBay. Then I got some K&S tubing. The first tubing is 1/8, and that's right here for the new shaft, which I put the wheel on, drilled a hole in the wheel, put a pin in there so it wouldn't slip. And then for the sleeve, I went ahead and got some K&S 5/32 to go around there. Drilled a couple of holes, put some tiny screws in the holes to hold them together. This didn't have a hole. This is basically a D shaft. And then, because this is going on a module, I'm using a battery pack with a switch. And just for showing for this video, I had single AA packs, so I put 3 of them on. I connected them to a switch. Let's go ahead and plug this in and see where we go from here. And when you're doing modular stuff, you want to keep everything portable, and if you want to do things that are animated, I always recommend battery power. It's a lot easier and it'll save me a lot of wiring when I do it. So now we just flip the switch. Presto, changeo, magnifico. We got a conveyor belt that moves nice and slow for loading up that rock into my Tyco cars. And yeah, this thing's got some tension on here. So my next problem when I start building the module is how I'm going to keep this and the brace to hold this up from doing this. But we got it to work. It's motorized, it's running. So there's an upgrade that you all can do for your Tyco conveyor belts. Even if you got a permanent layout, I would still try and use a low voltage. 3 batteries seems to be enough. 3 AA batteries. You can pick up AA battery packs at Amazon. You know, a switch from any electronic store. And you know, I got the plugs off eBay. So now the next and final thing I got to do is I'm going to trim off the metal here, and I'm going to set this up for either a container or a new shed placement for the drive shaft, some sort of a motor house, because yeah, conveyors are motorized, so you would obviously have a long shaft on there, so it doesn't hide the details. The only thing I think any rivet counter is going to pick up is why are there 2 large screws in here. But then again, what rivet counter is going to be saying, hey, wait a minute, that's a Tyco conveyor belt, that's not prototypical, blah, 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 blah. So I wouldn't even worry about that. So there you are, friends. A real simple upgrade and replacement of the Tyco's conveyor belt. And until next time, I am Psycho for Tyco. Hey friends, I know you're at the end of the video and all that, but I just wanted to give a quick shout out that if you're in Carson City or any of the surrounding neighborhoods, come on down to Mills Park, where the Carson City Railroad Association, my model railroad club, happens to be at. We've got both HO scale and N scale. We run modular displays. We also have, during the summer months, a 2-foot tourist railroad that kind of goes around half the park. Membership fee is about $35. If you want to run some trains, come on down. Just let us know. Link in the description, and the link is right here at the bottom. And have a good one. I'm Psycho for Tyco. We'll see you next time.